Once upon a time, there was a business lawyer. This business lawyer worked really hard to pass the bar, go to law school, and help his clients. His clients came to him with interesting challenges. Those challenges were a variety, just many varieties, but what he noticed over time was they came with lots of frustration. His clients were super frustrated, and they spent a lot of money with this lawyer. The lawyer became even more successful as the clients had more problems and more challenges. On one particular day, a client came in with a business problem. And this problem was interesting because it was actually connected to all the other problems the lawyer noticed. And the lawyer noticed that all the problems had one particular challenge. All of them. One. All the clients came too late. The lawyer felt he could have helped them before they got into that problem or in those challenges. And they all lost a lot of money. But what was really fascinating is the problem was really common. It was common for all of us. They did not address the issue of culture and relationships. That lawyer was me. It was very interesting for me. My name is Greg Bell. I'm the founder of Water the Bamboo Center for Leadership, and what we help organizations do is address the issues of culture, relationships, because we feel that relationships will get you all the results you're after. All the results you're after. And I put on seminars for leaders and companies to help them address their culture, build trust with each other, so they can get the results they need from their clients and otherwise. But it's interesting that we're here at the Kennedy School. About 15 years ago, I had a public seminar here at this Kennedy School. And I can't tell you, this many people weren't there. It just wasn't. And I just thought, well, I'll see how this goes. So part of the lessons I want to sort of share with you is about this idea of school of hard knocks. Like, what lessons have I learned just starting off in this business? Who am I to be able to address the issues of cultures and companies? And one of the first lessons I learned, I was a week into my business. 1 week into my business, and without a business card, without a brochure, without a website, I got a $45,000 contract right from the get-go. It was a Thursday. I remembered it. I had a great weekend. It was unbelievable. But on Tuesday, guess what happened? Lost it. The contract went away. There was some error the company had made. And it was very interesting. The real lesson here is you can't count the money until the check clears. Don't count the money till the check clears. There's two things I hate, and that is pandas and potential. See, Water the Bamboo is about this. Bamboo farmers will take a bamboo seed and they'll water it for a full year. And after a year, you know what they'll see? Absolutely nothing. They'll water for 2 years and see nothing. 3 years and nothing. 4 years, nothing. 5 years, nothing. But once the plant touches the surface, it will grow over 90 feet in 60 days. There's not a person in this room that doesn't want that kind of growth in their business and their personal lives. You got to keep watering, and you got to keep watering. Oh, by the way, what will people say while you're watering your bamboo? You're crazy. You're nuts. It'll never work. You know what you tell them? Tell them to mind their own bamboo. Mind your own bamboo. You got to stay focused. Stay focused on your bamboo. And part of this lesson I want to have you think about is while you're watering, make sure that's the important part, not necessarily the result. A lot of times I found that in my world, when I first started, and even today it happens, where you're with somebody, with the group, whatever it is, and you're thinking about the next one, you're not with them. You're thinking about the next opportunity. You gotta stay where you are and be present and handle the one you're with. Stay with that one, because the next one will come, but you have to handle the step you're on. A lot of times we're moving way too fast, way too fast. Water the Bamboo is about patience and persistence. Keep showing up and keep showing up. The other lessons I learned are really super interesting. So all of us have strengths, all of us have weaknesses. And it's important to know what they are. Know what your strengths are and know what your weaknesses are. And when you know what your weaknesses are, I encourage you to hire experts to help you with those weaknesses so you can do high-value activities. What's a high-value activity for you is really important. High-value activities are important. Why? Every single person in this room has the same amount of time as I have, 168 hours a week. That's it. Hopefully you're sleeping a few of those hours. But if you're doing activities that aren't matching up with what your values are and what your bamboo is and what your vision is, you need to sort of pass those on and say no to them. You need to figure that out early on, and that's an early game plan. You got to figure that out. How am I using my 168 hours? Really important for all of us to do that. And by the way, while you're on your journey through your life and that, keep this in mind. It's really important to understand what your values are. I start my book with values. Values are super important. Why is that? Every journey you take winds up at home. Every journey winds up at home. You think about it. Hillary climbs Everest, 29,000 feet, 29,035 feet, gets all the way to the top, of success, if you will. The third thing Hillary said to him, I'm imagining, is, I think I should go home. You think about that for a moment. I've seen it over and over, even with myself. Status goes up, we win some, we lose some. Your objective is to keep your state the same. And the way you keep your state the same is to understand the things that you actually value and what's really important. So on this journey that we're all on, make sure that you do take care of those around you, take care of all the folks around you, because that's really what it's all about. It's really about the watering. It's really about that. The bamboo may happen, the bamboo may not happen, but make sure you enjoy the journey to the top of the mountain. There's many things I can sort of share with you because I was thinking about this. They said, School of Hard Knocks, what lessons have you learned? I am still learning. And being a continuous learner is an important thing to sort of own for yourself, for your company, and for those around you. Figuring out how to learn is important. The third really important thing also is this idea of generosity. Generosity is super important. If you think about going into the meetings early in my career, I would go looking for transactions, looking for deals, looking for business. And I learned something very early on, that if you chase the money, if that's all you're in it for, that becomes a super bad problem for you, because there's never enough. Our culture, we have yacht envy. You got a yacht, and you want a bigger yacht. And I think it's really challenging when you define success based on just money. That's why I go back to values. Always stay in that conversation. So early on, I would do that, chasing transactions. But now, when I think about this, I'm looking for transformation. The organizations I work with, I want them to be looking for transformation. How do we really change the game? Not how do we do transactions. But one of the things we start with is generosity. Every meeting I go to, every client I work with, I think about generosity. I think generosity can generate more revenue for you than all the transactions you're in. So if we think about our careers too, all of us have been helped by others. So I suggest as a role model, when you have success in your company, when you have success in your life, always be willing to reach back. Reach back generously. Have a mentor relationship with somebody you can actually reach back with and help out. And what's interesting about this is, I grew up in Texas. I grew up in a tiny little town called San Augustine, and no one in this room has ever heard of that town, and if you have, we're probably related. 2,400 people and a goat, and it's actually next to Louisiana, right? Louisiana, the initials for Louisiana are what? LA, so kind of near LA. And it's very interesting coming from this town for me is I grew up in a house with no running water, no indoor plumbing, no outdoor plumbing, no plumbing, okay? And I think that when you think about this idea of being that scrappy, you gotta have that sort of scrappy attitude to have success and know where you came from. Knowing where you came from is really important. But it's interesting if we think about how many people have helped me in my career. Part of the reason I think people help is I ask. Always ask. I think the example of somebody coming here last year and getting help from somebody right next to them. Be willing to ask for help, but be willing to help others. Be willing to ask for help and help others. By the way, there's no neutral. There is no neutral in our lives. The idea of generosity and asking for help is super important. I have 3 girls. Their middle names are Grace, Hope, and Joy. And I tell them this: if you trust the world, you're going to be disappointed. But if you don't trust the world, you're going to be absolutely miserable. You think about that for a moment. I'm asking you to sort of step outside your comfort zone, step outside that. Yes, people, things, process will disappoint. But never walk in a room and let an idiot get in the way of what you're trying to do. And sometimes that idiot is me, right? So we got to think about that. Never let someone get in the way of what you're trying to do. Keep showing up. Trust is super important to the world. Trust the world. Yes, the world will disappoint. But if you don't come out and ask for help, you will never get the help. You got to ask. Ask for help, get help. You know, sort of back to the original theme about I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, I get help with the weaknesses. Makes all of us stronger. And whatever you do, what I would love you to do is to stay calm, and keep watering. Thank you for your time.